Good evening, this is the City of Pleasantville City Council work meeting. Today's date is December the 5th, 2022. The time is 6:30 p.m. This meeting has been duly advertised in the city's newspaper in conformance with the Open Public Meeting Act, otherwise known as the Sunshine Law. Roll call.
Swan. Davenport. Fablelaro.
Here.
Thomas. Present. Pomona.
Present.
Korea.
Here.
Sistrum.
Present.
5 in favor.
Entertain, approval of the previous minutes.
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Madam Clerk, where are we at?
We're at level, letter A, executive session, and let the record reflect that Councilman Swan is here.
At this time, City Council is we're going into executive session. Please excuse yourself and report you back here when the executive session is over.
Get a motion.
Have a motion. Second. All in favor? Second.
Good evening, everyone. We're in executive session. We just retired from executive session at 7:11 p.m. The purpose was reviewing matters under attorney-client privilege and contractual negotiations.
Madam Clerk. Agenda review.
First on the agenda is ordinance number 24, providing the execution of a financial agreement under the long-term tax exemption law with the redeveloper for the redevelopment area as Lot 1, Block 255 on the tax map for the city. We will have a presentation by Richard Nettie, our project coordinator, along with Sean Scarborough.
Staff have the presentation. Sean.
Hi again, thank you for having us here tonight, appreciate it. So the development area that's subject to this financial agreement is the old high school site at Lakes Bay redevelopment area. The site has been vacant since the high school was torn down. The city has tried to redevelop that site for 25 years or so and has not been successful. A lot of different projects have come through that never made it through. The project that is planned to go there is market rate. It includes 180 market rate rentals, 2-bedroom and 1-bedroom, garages available for some of the units, pool, clubhouse, gym. It also has, which is not part of the financial agreement, it's going to have a commercial component with some restaurants that sits right on Tunis Basin, right on the water. The financial agreement deals only with the 180 rental units that will be down there, market rate rental units. And the financial agreement is needed to get it developed. And a lot of times we talk about, pilots and financial agreements, and we you think of them a lot of times like, Woodland Terrace, oh, you're on pilot, it pays very little. This baseline, once we get to the baseline, stabilized baseline, will be a minimum of $380,000 a year to the city's municipal budget. Be one of the highest taxpayers to the city. And that will go up every year for 30 years. It'll go up yearly based on the increase in normal property taxes in the town, and potentially based on the success of the project because of the revenue that it generates. So, we're here tonight to look at trying to get something developed down there for a long time that we can't do it, try to bring additional revenue into the city, and try to get really a really upscale project in Pleasantville, something that Pleasantville can be proud of. We've gone and visited a similar project that was done by this group in Pennsauken, and I wish everyone could go see it, because everyone will be proud. This is a project that the folks in Pleasantville will be proud of. We're no longer looking at, you know, can we build another affordable housing project, like, or something like that. This is to get us to the next level, that gets everyone thinking about Pleasantville being more market rate community than a affordable only community. Sean Scarborough is the principal of the development entity, and you know, introduce yourself, talk a little bit about the project.
Okay, well, I would start with this. I live in Ocean City. My family's been in the real estate development business in southern New Jersey for 75 years, third generation. We started as home builders, and we did that until the mid-'80s. Then we gravitated as a family into more commercial work. Still doing some residential, but not as the primary mission. We build over 10,000 homes in New Jersey. Projects near here that you may be familiar with, the English Creek Shopping Center, the office buildings there, the residential work behind that, the Home Depot. That entire corner there, we started that in the late '80s. Shore Medical Center, I was the developer of Shore Medical Center on Bay Avenue in Somers Point, Harbor Cove Marina, and the Harbor Cove residential project there is another one of ours. It's 287 units. We just finished up a project in Cape May, 37 singles and another marina in that area. So I'm very, very, very familiar with this area. I think that it's a tremendous opportunity. It's a gorgeous waterfront on Lakes Bay. I purchased the property in December of 2019. So I've owned the high school site since that time. This is a site that's adjacent to the old Joker's Field and the marina. So it's the big square in the middle there. I worked with your elected officials over the course of 2 years to complete the approval work, all the entitlement work, to do, as Rick said, a commercial open-air restaurant centric development against Tunis Basin on that edge. And then the main street would come in, splitting the residential to the right as you would head towards the water, and the commercial to the left. Tonight, we're here and talking about the residential, which is 180 market rate units in 6 buildings with amenities, pool, gym, as Rick said, storage and parking, garage parking and surface parking, all within really the road network that you see at this time. The last component that we need to complete in order to push forward and start the build is a financial agreement. And the purpose of the financial agreement in Pleasantville is to equalize the tax rate here with the tax rate of every abutting municipality. That would be Egg Harbor Township, at Seacon, and Northfield, to hit the same tax rate. And it allows us to do a predictable rollout of the project and what it would be carrying for its tax load as it build out. The build out period would be approximately 9 months to 12 months, depending on when we start to put all the site work in place. Generally, if you just don't have to start in the middle of the winter, your site work will go a little quicker because you're in the ground, and you just want it to be as dry as possible. And then, from construction, it'll take 6 to 7 months to deliver the first of 6 buildings. And then every 45 days to 65 days, another building will come online until all 6 buildings are built. And prior to the first building being delivered, the clubhouse with the pool area, the meeting room, rec area, that's built and open first, and simultaneously with the first building, the first residential building that's open. So, as I said, we have all of our entitlements and land use approvals in place at this time from all the agencies, including Pleasantville, and we're looking to start in the early spring of this year. So we can come out and try to take advantage of the good weather that you start to get in the spring, and then we get over the summer, and then our falls are always really nice. So that would be our schedule that we're looking to accomplish.
And I apologize, I didn't introduce myself. I'm Rick Giannetti, I'm with Brook Group. I am the city's project consultant. I work for the city on these matters with various developers for projects throughout the town. Do we take questions now, or?
Any questions from the city?
I do.
Council?
Mr. Scarborough, you submitted to the Department of Community Affairs a 3-page. And my question is, you have the original certificate of incorporation, you have the project block numbers and the lot numbers. And in section 3, it asks for basically what kind of project this is. And it says, one of them is, this project is solely a commercial project with no housing units developed in a redevelopment area pursuant to a municipal redevelopment plan. This project consists solely of market rate housing units developed in a development area pursuant to a municipal redevelopment plan. The project consists of low and moderate income housing units, which may include senior citizens' low and moderate income housing units. This project consists of mixed use and specify the type, market rate and low and moderate income housing, commercial and market rate housing, and commercial and low and moderate housing, and then it has a space for other. That section 3 was checked off at number 1, and it says this project is solely a commercial project with no housing units developed in a development area pursuant to a municipal plan. And because that was checked off as number 1, it asked for other things. And two of the other things are the name of the redevelopment agency, which is the city, and the ordinance. And it says for housing projects, complete the following. Specify type and number of units, condominium units, market rate rentals, low and moderate income and mixed use projects, senior citizen and mixed use projects, and other. And for the total number of units, you have NA. Could you please explain that?
Yes, it's a commercial, the answer to your first question, the first line that you read on the first page, is that it's a commercial project because it's commercial rental units. They're not single-family homes that are sold fee simple. So it's a commercial rental project, which then takes you out of what's the unit count in a residential, as a residential component, as either condo, townhouse, or single family. So it's a commercial project at the start.
But it gives you the option of putting down that this is a market rate housing development, which is basically what you're doing, is putting in market
No,
rate housing.
it's a commercial project because it's rental housing. It's market rate rental housing. And that's a form provided by the state. So that's how you have to answer it. There's no secret that it's market rate rental housing, but that's why it's answered that way.
Well, there's no secret, but it's not mentioned on this paper. And the other question I have is, well, number 1 is, has the city retained professional experienced professionals to assist in the evaluation of this pilot program. And I don't mean Mr. Genetti, Ms. Payton, and Mr. Ludi. I mean an outside CPA or auditor to look at these numbers to see that they all add up. Because none of us up here can look at this with any assurance, and I'm not, this is not on you, I'm saying any project that comes forward cannot look at this and say, hey, yeah, these are the numbers that should be there. I've looked at several of these before, and those numbers are all basic. We don't have that expertise. We need to have that expertise to have somebody come in and look at these numbers for us.
Can we pause there? Ms.
Go ahead.
Valero? So you kind of shared with the public that we're not CPAs and, and all of that, and I think most people recognize that. However, we do rely on those people that have expertise in dealing with financial agreements. So I think we should let Mr. Scarborough answer the question to advise the public and you how he comes up with those numbers and what professionals he used to evaluate those numbers, and that we share that information with our side so that everyone would understand that it's just not at the eyesight of myself and Mr. Genetti and others, that there are other people involved in this process to look at these numbers.
Well, we did two things to answer that. The first was on a more broad scale, we asked, and the council indulged us greatly, to go and visit a project 60 miles from here in Pennsauken. And that was in the previously known as the Pennsauken Mart site. It's a 36-acre project in the middle of 5 superhighways, and it's now 250 market rate rental housing units, very similar to this. They went toward the property, and along with that, we shared all the data that we put together for that project, similar financial agreement, in fact, the same format as this, and had both the mayor, the deputy mayor, and the city manager come and meet your council people. It was quite an effort, and I thank them still for making the effort that day. It took most of the day. We parallel that document, that agreement, and that structure for this proposal. And we had shared that agreement before we drafted this one with your team, both your professional team and your elected officials. Driving it closer to home, it goes back to looking at initially the three abutting communities: Absecon, Egg Harbor Township, Northfield. What is their tax structure? If you picked this project up and dropped it in any one of those towns, what would they do? What would that tax structure be back to us? And we use that as a baseline to develop this financial agreement, just to be competitive. That's all we want to do, is be competitive. The rate in Sound is over 5%. The rate in Summers Point is 2.65%. It's just a disadvantage. This allows us to get out of the blocks and get up to a full rate on a property that really generates very little for the community. And it just puts the project and the property on a competitive footing to launch and do something. And so we looked at, in order to develop our baseline, a far away, very like kind project in Pennsauken. Same document. We shared all the structure. We had the leaders of that community come to the meeting, walk the property with your council people. They're very proud of it. And then we came back here and we took the surrounding communities as a baseline, and that's where we drove these numbers from. That's where it came from.
But you had professional people that drew up this agreement with numbers that had been gone over and over and over, correct? You had accountants, you had CPAs looking at
No,
this.
the agreement is a form agreement from my legal counsel, and the numbers come from us. I gotta know what it costs to be in place. I borrow the money. There's no magic. There's no CPA that's gonna tell me you're gonna be fine. I'd be dead, financially speaking. I have to believe it. I gotta know. So that's why I look at the other communities. We've operated in this state for 75 years. And we operate in the community. And I just have to make it a playing field in which I can compete in this community where I'm invested. I just want it to be the same as the 3 abutting communities around. And then we'll win, because we got a better site. We got the water. We will win. But that's where it comes from. And I'll share any number with anybody, and I have, but at any time.
My question is that the city needs, not you, but the city, in what I've read about pilot programs, that the city who is looking at the project needs outside counsel by way of numbers to look at this to say, yeah, this is pretty standard. This is what should be here. These are the figures that we look at for a 180 apartment unit. These are all kind of jobs. And my question, and it's not what you have done, because you're doing stuff for your own protection. I'm doing it for our protection. It has nothing to do with magic. It has nothing to do with anything except pure protection on our side. You wouldn't go into an agreement that we wrote up and said, here, we did our due diligence, now you sign. Now you sign. Don't check anything, don't, just sign. That's what I'm asking, is that the city needs an outside person to look at these figures. It might come back that every figure is perfectly right. I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with your numbers. I'm just saying that the city needs protection.
Yes, can anybody explain to the public about the 30 years pilot program?
30 year.
Why, why is it 30 years?
Well, in the state of New Jersey allows up to a 30-year financial agreement. And the reason that this is a 30-year financial agreement is, if you think about it, your numbers, right? It's like you're borrowing money for a 30-year term. And if someone's going to go borrow 25, 26, 27 million, $30 million, the person lending the money, because this doesn't just get looked at by the developer and the city. It gets looked at by the lender. And the lender to lend the money has to feel comfortable that this is a stable project over the long term. Now, there's some built-in things in there. So it is a 30-year. It gets to a baseline. It continues to go up. It's like everyone's taxes go up. But in year 15, we're required to start doing comparisons between what the regular taxes would be and what the pilot is. And then again in year 20 and again in year 25 or 26, we have to continue, got to pay at least 20%, got to pay at least 40%, got to pay at least 60%. And by the time you're in like year 29, you have to be paying at least 80%. So when we say, hey, it starts out, once it's stabilized at $380,000 a year and it's going up, it goes up every year. And then in the out years, it could jump higher, okay, to make sure that's where it is. So you do the 30-year to make sure, the reason you do any pilot is your choice is, does a project work or does it not work? If it doesn't work, the land taxes down there are $8,000 or $9,000 a year. If we sit on the property for 20 years for $8,000 or $9,000 a year, is that better than getting $380,000 a year? That in 20 years it'll be $650,000 a year as it increases. What's the better choice for the city? And you have to make that decision. What's the better choice for the city? We will get to 30 years. We will get to full taxes. Normally what a developer does, somewhere down the road they will refinance. Okay, they put money back into the project. That's what you want them to do, so the project stays nice, right? We don't want it to be like Woodman Terrace was, where it got worse over time. You want this to get better over time. They refinance it and do it better, but then once they start repaying that mortgage off, then their debt service is less. And that way the taxes can increase and they can still have a successful project. And you want a successful project. You don't want a unsuccessful project in your town. But that's the reason why there's a long-term pilot. And it's the tools in the toolboxes. Towns throughout the state do this to generate the kind of growth that they want. Because if you're unable to develop a site, you have to decide whether you want to develop that site or not. And what could get developed there if not this? It would, maybe you build 5 or 6 single-family homes and get $15,000 a year in taxes. That's what you have to think about.
Yes.
I have a quick question. As a developer, you're looking to develop and sell, or you look to develop and keep the management of the property?
Well, there's 2 properties, there's the retail commercial waterfront, and then there's the residential. So we have 2 different ideas going on down there. Most of the stuff we build, we keep for as long as we can. So we keep, own, and manage. That's our structure as a company.
Is there a reason why those commercial components of the developing of the property are not?
2 things.
We're not even talking about those.
Well, 2 things.
Why are those?
They'll feed off of the parks being developed, the marina and the park, and the people living there. They're a service to the residents in a sense. Not just the residents, but that's why they would come second. But I say second, they'll be in place before the project is done. They just
The
won't be in
commercial
place by
part of
the,
it?
yeah, they won't be in place by the first building, but they'll be in place by the time the project's done.
Maybe you want to explain to everybody what else is going to happen down there with the Joker's Field and some of the other divisions with the marina and the restaurant areas.
Sure. To talk about, initially when I became involved as the redeveloper for the site, it really is, the site that I own is 10 acres. But the real project to the outside eye is 25 acres because of the Joker's Field parcel, the old track, and the marina itself. The marina needs a facelift in the sense that it needs to be dredged. We added a crabbing dock to it as well. A dredging permit that's on the cusp of being completed, if not completed, to dredge and make it an operable marina. It connects in a pedestrian walkway across what is a creek that comes out to the bay, to Lakes Bay, from the marina into the park, and the park's just tremendous. I mean, it has a couple areas allotted for performances. The oval shape of the track stays, so it's still going to be a running and walking track. And the interior of the track is aggressively landscaped. It has a slight slope that goes out to a stage out towards the water end of the park. And it really will be a town square, really interactive for community events. We don't own that. We'll never own that. That's the city's property. They've done a hell of a job securing grants. It's all designed, and it's close to launching for them to put it out to bid. So the water's edge from the marina to that, and then as you turn the corner at Randall's there, that's the commercial component right at the back of Tunis Basin there, which we have as enclosed restaurants, but with a lot of outdoor space, because we'll take advantage of the seasonal activity where people want to be outside, food and beverage. Of course, we'll have inside dining, open on a year-round basis, but there's just less people around, obviously in the middle of the winter when you're on a water's edge environment. So that's the concept that we put forth in our plan. But all of these components all knit together with pedestrian walkways back and forth. And it's meant to be a place that I think anybody in town would want to visit, and probably even people from out of town would want to visit, to just put it on their walking circuit. I know a lot of people like to go to AC and walk the boardwalk, and then walk the bridge in Ocean City on the next 2 days later, and then they go to Cape May. I know some people who do that, they get the time to do it. But that's what it's going to be like. It's going to be very pedestrian oriented, it's going to be a very friendly environment. I will tell you that field still gets used a lot now. A lot of people walk that field and run that track, even though it's really beat up and there's really almost nothing left of it. And I know because it takes 8 hours with our tractor to cut that 10 acres, and I've done it 3 times. My guys do a lot of the times, but I was pretty impressed with how many people come there, park, use the track, get the car and leave. A lot of people. So I think it's going to be a tremendous asset for the community. And thank the council people for that. They're the ones who got the grants together, helped the design.
Mr. Scarborough, did I hear you just say you're going to be the manager, you're going to manage it also?
Yeah, we manage most of all of our commercial properties.
So you're going to be getting the 7%?
Management.
Oh, yeah, whatever, whenever you manage the property, you write in management, because as an underwriter, if you're a lender, they look at it, somebody's got to manage it, whether you're the owner or not. You have to count that as a line item.
So you're going to be the recipient, if you're the manager,
Yeah,
that
if you're-
7% will be $273,000.
Yeah, it's about, you probably have a dozen people on payroll, and
Payroll's separate.
yeah, but no, you'll have people on payroll, and you have insurance and overhead, and other professionals that you have to pick up as part of the
Well,
management.
that's what I was going to put. That's certainly not included in the 7% because you have that broken down. You have other, the payroll broken out, you have other things, not inclusive of the 7%.
Yeah, there's things in the 7%. 7% is not pure, but because there's overhead associated with your management company. And 7% is the standard. If I put that in there at 5%, let's say, to a lending institution, they would say, well, we have to put it in at 7. Because if we owned it, that's what we would pay. The market's 7% for multi-tenancy. Whereas like if you're in a strip center, it's less than 4. But they're triple net deals, so you don't have to do a lot of work. This is a lot more management intensive. It's not a hotel, but it's close some days.
Yes.
Yeah.
Sean, what's the rental amount for the 1-bedroom and the 2-bedroom?
We're underwriting it at about $1,900 a unit right now.
Oh, wow. That's for the one?
That's like a blend of the 1 and 2. Because there's a couple things that happen. The 2s will be more, the 1s will be a little less. And then there's also, are you a corner facing the water, corner facing the street? There's some premiums that you could do for views. Also on your height, because we got nice views of the water. The higher you go, we think you'll be able to maybe get another $20 or $30 a month in rent for that. So it varies. There's some shifting. But so we try to take an average on a per unit basis. But it is spanned within $200 either way.
Thank you.
Number 2, Resolution 195, supporting the State House Commission pre-application to the New Jersey Department of Environmental Protection for 411 Brighton Avenue.
Question?
Yes, I'm sorry.
Sorry.
Can I get an explanation of that, please?
So 195, as you all should be made aware of, the city is a recipient of COVID money that came out maybe a year or so ago that we could utilize for, and we just experienced this the other night with the drop of temperature, to have some type of a shelter or resiliency place in place for the city of Pleasantville, which we currently do not have, particularly with the Red Cross moving out of town. So we are a recipient of a little over $500,000. We identified the Pleasantville Recreation Center as the facility to upgrade for the resiliency program. In saying that, because part of the recreation facility is considered green acres, when you're dealing with green acres, if you take a portion of green acres, you have to swap it out with another portion of your green acres so that your green acres inventory stays the same. In our case, it's just going to be a compensation because of the Green Acres project that Mr. Scarborough just mentioned over at the old Jokers field. So we don't have to swap it out. They'll use the compensation that the money's going towards the Jokers, the old Jokers field, to turn that into new parkland. So we're including that in this project, so the swap is now even. So technically, you have to put the application on file with Green Acres, identifying the new Green Acre location.
Who worked on that, right?
Oh, it's so old, oh my gosh. No, it's been years of work for the Green Acres. It's been many years for the amphitheater. We've gotten very creative since that original design. And as Mr. Scarborough just stated, we're hoping that this will be a state-of-the-art attraction, not just for Pleasantville, but for people to come out of town and utilize the park. And we're looking forward to getting that document out on the street so someone can bid for it. And as the old Pleasantville High School is being constructed, we'll see some dredging going on, and hopefully the old Jokers field being improved.
Any more questions?
Thank you.
Seeing none, next, you got it.
Next is Resolution 196, authorized issuance of a request for proposal for an energy saving improvement program.
Any questions? Seeing none,
Resolution 197, adopting, certifying, update, and review of various sections of personnel policies and procedures.
any questions?
Comment. This is very important. As we recall in our last council meeting when we went over the annual audit, this is the IRS rule that we need to comply with. The Labor Council has drafted up language, which you should see in your package today, and that will become part of policy and implemented as this is approved.
That's one of the findings.
Yes.
Any more questions?
Resolution 198, authorizing the tax collector to refund taxes on certain properties.
Any questions?
Next is review of the bill list.
Good evening. You guys know that side script. We're going to bills that were paid between the last council meeting and this council meeting. You see at the very top, the Petosh Big Top, that was for the rental attendant for Winter Wonderland. The first payment is the initial down payment. The second is the final payment for the rental. And then the other one is for the DJ that was at Winter Wonderland. Wire transfers, you'll see.
One second, Barry. So the Petron is MVP fund, so that's not city money.
The wire transfers is our medical payments for November for both active and retirees. $250,000 to be transferred in from the sewer to our current fund for offsets on medical costs as well as insurance. That's all in the budget for them as well as for us. The payroll last Friday, and then $375 we transferred in from UEZ, again part of the budget, to offset some police salaries for 2022. If we go to the bills, we're looking to repay this time. Fourth one down, ACUA. There are two bills there, one for $498, which is the fourth quarter sewer cost, and then $123 is the monthly trash pickup and recycling cost. You go down, one right after that is the county check for fuel. This is pretty much the area we're spending every month. Sometimes it goes up, sometimes it goes down. For the month of October, they charge us $2.88 a gallon for gas, and $4.68 for diesel, which is a little higher than the month before, which was lower, the month before that was even lower. Fourth from the bottom, you see combat brands. As you know, we have a new boxing ring and recreation center. This money was paid out of community development block grant money. On page 2, third one down, we have talked about the last couple of council meetings about Cooper Levinson bills. You'll see $60,000 there. They're billed from January 1st through September 10th. We didn't pay them because we were going through them. We didn't get them till late.
Quick question, are we finally up to date with them?
Well, I got a couple bills on my desk today. For the most part, we're up to date, yes.
Yeah, I think so.
Yolanda said good, she gets paid this week.
I'm not gonna say
As you look down, you'll see Deidre Alexander Sims, 13017 vendor number. She is our office emergency management coordinator, and she gets a stipend of $5,000 a year. We pay $2,500 in June, and the balance in December. And then a couple below that, you see Jersey Title. As you all know, we purchased the building on the corner. These were the settlement costs involved with that for the sale of that, for that transfer of title. If we go to page 3, 4 from the bottom, Manor Group. We talked last time also about reimbursement for condominium associations and apartments that were required to reimburse. There's 2, I believe, on this bill list, because we weren't finished checking the numbers to have on last bill list. Overall, we probably spend, as Councilman Correa mentioned me today, probably close to $300,000 in reimbursement for all the condos and apartments. A couple years ago, we did an analysis, at least ACUA did an analysis. Would it be cheaper for us to do the pickup ourselves? And the answer is no, because we don't pay right now. We don't pay for bulk pickup. We don't pay the insurance adjustment charges or fuel adjustment charges or a management fee, and also we don't pay to put new dumpsters in there. The analysis by the ACUA is that it would cost the city more money than what we've reimbursed on an annual basis.
Mr. Louis, how much did you say we reimbursed most of these contracts?
Probably in the area around $300,000
For
all of them.
For all of them? Okay. So the new Spyglass project would be included in on that, right? They would get a reimbursement because they provide their own trash pickup and we would reimburse them.
Because well, I guess, take you that much, right? But I know, and what to look at, but I know that because we condominium are paying full taxes, we have to reimburse them. Since they're paying an abatement, we may not. We don't reimburse people across the street. So I'm going to say, no, we won't.
Thank you. So we don't reimburse them for their trash pickup.
Correct.
They have to pay.
Correct. If you're down there, on vendor number 51402 is Trinity Code Inspections. As you know, we've gone to a third-party inspector for all of our electrical, plumbing, building, code enforcement and inspections. This $13,000 is paid out of revenue we've already collected. And as you'll know, we also bumped our fees up a little bit to take care of, we still get money, and we still pay out money. Because we had a hard time finding inspectors, and that's why we went out to bid for this. Excuse me. Other than that, all the other bills are normal operating bills that we have to handle on a monthly basis. We have one more month for December for 2022. We'll see where we are. We may have to do some additional transfers. We did transfers last month. Last council meeting, we may have to do some one more for the year end.
Any more questions?
Yes, question. Mr. Louis, for page 4, sassafras, Ron, it says reimbursement for condo fee.
No, it's a condo fee reimbursement, but it is, it's included the trash reimbursement. You just can't say that. Yeah, we don't reimburse, all these are reimbursement for their trash pickup.
Okay, and another question. For Jenna Cook, $4,000, and this is dated back to February the 4th. How come so long
No,
ago?
I don't know why it's, January 4th is when we initially set up the blanket purchase order. So January 4th, we set up an order for $48,000 for the year, and every month we pay $4,000. That's just the beginning date of the encumbrance.
So, question, Ms. Cook is, I don't know if I can say this, she full-time, part-time? We pay the same
She's a
price?
prosecutor,
Yeah. This is your contract.
per contract.
Yeah, $4,000 a month.
Okay, I guess I'll bring this.
Well, our RFPs were solicited and gotten last year, and that's what council awarded Ms. Cook, the $48,000 a year to be prosecuted.
But I think it has been some changes, right? I'll bring it up in committee, so.
Any more questions? Senna? Thank you. Thank you. Next is the public portion. Anyone from the public wishing to speak on agenda items only, please come forward. 1 minute at the mic, 1 time, and the mic.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Tim Jones, Pleasantville. I commend Mr. Scarborough's project as the vision that is presented in terms of its possibilities and capabilities. My only concern is the fact that we are not reaping the benefit in terms of tax revenues that we should garner from such a project for the city of Pleasantville. We're talking about a prime property. We're talking, as Mr. Scarborough stated, it's a prime property even compared to neighboring communities. There's no justification, from my perspective, that we should have to settle for just giving it to someone, just like our PM project. All those projects, all those housing projects, all those apartments there, and my taxes have gone up from the beginning, before they were put there, up until now. Mr. Jeanette, excuse me, he made reference to the fact that, in lieu of paying those taxes they would be due, that they would pay an increasing amount. And after 15 years, what the property taxes would be considered is part of that, but it's only percentages of what the property taxes would be entitled to or achieve. At 29 years, you're talking 80% of the taxes that you would otherwise get if it was just a straight deal. We're giving too much away. Also, according to Title 40, the law that allows for these abatements, low income and medium income housing is part of that requirement. That's why I believe it's stated in your documents, even though you have no plans on actually developing any low and medium income housing. These issues need to be addressed. Pleasantville cannot just give our city away. You're talking about the last one, as far as I know, the biggest prime property we have in the city. I am sure that if you built that project as you expressed it, you would be very successful with that project. Just like projects going on in Atlantic City. There are a lot of projects going on in Atlantic City without abatements, and no, they're all getting abatements.
Anything of size.
Anything that sells.
Anything of size.
Not anything of size. But another part of that dynamic is the consideration of the community. A lot of people say, well, if you build something like that, you're talking about Pleasantville. The mixed community of Atlantic City, seems to me, has not prohibited people from what they call gentrification occurring in Atlantic City, because black people are not the boogeyman as is perceived a lot in society, and a lot of smart people do actually know that. We can't just sell our city for nothing. We need to get where our city to work and the things we do, and that's my primary concern. Thank you.
Anyone else from the public?
Julio Sanchez, 601 Portland Avenue. Mr. Sistrom, Mr. Payton, council members. First, kudos to you, Ms. Famularo. Yes, these dynamite questions. I too would wonder how we would enter in a deal, and not to be adversarial, but when you're doing a business deal, you have the city and he's private, the opposite side of the coin, why wouldn't there be a professional on the city's behalf, hired by the city, in the city's best interest to make sure the residents are being taken care of? Like, that's a huge red flag for me. Number two, I was taking notes as you was talking. I did a little research on your company. You're, as you said, a premier construction company around here for over 75 years. You personally said 35 years. Okay, I've seen millions of dollars in projects that you guys have built. As Mr. Jones said, first of all, we all know from Maine and Milan, in order to get a tax abatement, you have to have some low income or senior citizen housing usually to qualify for that. You're saying you're charging market rate. $1,900 a month is above market rate in this county. So somebody who's been successful as you in business and developing, who's going to be building something that's going to get higher than market rate, I don't understand why you would need an abatement at all, because you're a successful developer who should be extremely affluent and experienced in doing things like this. So I don't understand why you would, you're not an upstart, why you would need the property to be done for pretty much free, especially when you didn't buy the property for market value to begin with. I think, again, like Mr. Jones said, the city is just giving too much away. I wonder if the city council members, as you know, I'm a sitting school board member, if you thought about what the impact of 180 residential units would do to our school system, it would put us in a logistical nightmare. We have nowhere to put those kids, number one. We don't have the financial means to educate those kids, number two, which means we'd be asking the state for more state funding, which isn't guaranteed, and if we don't get that, it'd be an exponential raise in taxes for the residents. That's something that needs to be addressed. I think at some point in development within the city of Pleasantville, we have to look outside of residential properties for development because it does nothing for us financially. If a residential property charges $8,000 a year in taxes and puts one kid in the school system, you're upside down already.
That's right.
We know this is a largely Hispanic community. Very few of them have one child. You're talking about 4 or 5 childs a house. So you're talking about $40,000 to $50,000 upside down for every unit you build. Also, to protect the city, I've seen something you dealt with in Ocean City, where the city got together and they came up with a FIT group, a Fairness in Taxes group. And that's where they do a study to make sure that the justifiable amount of taxes by a developer is paid to the city, so the city doesn't end up holding the stick. I think we need to hold on to this and put these things in place, like Ms. Family said. You need a professional on the city side to look at the numbers to make sure they're right, because even though I respect all of you as professionals, as she said, none of you can look at these numbers and determine over the next 30 years how it's going to affect us. Number two, like in Ocean City, why don't the residents have a seat at the table?
Right.
Why isn't there a Fairness in Taxes group that can study how this is going to affect the city and come back to you with feedback to make sure, again, the city isn't getting sold out again? As I look at my former co-workers, the firefighters here, I want to know, have they been considered? I want to know what type of construction you plan on building, because if it's anything like the matchbox that was built over there, it's a death trap for firefighters. When are we ever going to start to consider this? When you're paying out millions of dollars in a lawsuit? When unfortunately one of my brothers and sisters died while fighting a fire there? I think we got to start doing our homework before we keep letting people come in and bastardize our city. Have a good night.
Anyone else from the
Good evening, Elise Sanchez.
I looked down, sorry.
All right, that's what I'm saying. Good evening, Elise Sanchez. I had a few bullet points. My Irish twin is my brother. He said a bunch of my stuff, so apparently we think alike a lot. So I'm just going to go over a few financial aspects because I've been in housing for 15 years. I'm certified in a couple different aspects of housing. So Atlantic County's market rate for a 1-bedroom is $1,101 for a 1-bedroom. A 2-bedroom will be $1,408. You're way past that. Yes. Nobody built the same type of building in Atlantic City for the last 5 years. It's 65% unoccupied. No one in Atlantic County can reach that. And that's at a resort with casinos, and that's on the water too also. Even if you build a park, you're not going to have a bunch of Pleasant Grove residents who can afford to live there or do that. It's not doing anything for us. So you're going to make, if I just do the base numbers in the first year, well over $3 million. You need abatement. So we're giving you an abatement to make money in our community, but we're not getting anything back. And in long haul, like my brother said, in Texas, you would screw us. Our district will be screwed. We're right now trying to figure out how to put what kid in this school, what kid in that school, open up this building, open up that building for a pre-K. We don't have enough housing for our kids we have already. So that wouldn't do anything for us. Then I see on your paperwork you want to do a bar. Is there even a liquor license available in Pleasantville?
Yes, ma'am.
You have one available for us?
Well, not for him. We have.
Oh, for somebody. Okay. That's the question I had. Let me see. And even if you're counting your dredging, so we're giving you a tax abate because what you're going to give Pleasantville back, what are you giving us? Because Ms. Payton just stated she has a bunch of grants to do the old Joker field. So we're not getting anything from you. You're getting a bunch of stuff from us. And we're going to be screwed in it. I looked up dredging. Dredging is from 20 to 75,000 per acre, 25 acres. That's 1 to 2 million for you just to dredge that area. You're going to make that back in a year. Now, if you go with the market rate, you're saying that's over 4 million you're going to be bringing in. And that doesn't include the amenities, because you're going to charge rent for your pool. You're going to charge rent for if you have a gym in there. You're going to charge a pet fee if somebody wants to have a pet. So you're going to get a bunch of amenities on top of the overpriced rent, and you want Pleasantville to just give it to you for free. That's unfair. And I'm not saying 5 to 7 years abatement if we have to give it abatement.
That's right.
30 years?
30 years?
That's
a lot of our lifetime. They won't be here anymore. So you're just going to screw us in the ass. So I'm not saying, I'm amazed at the fact that you want to come and redevelop Pleasantville. Amazing, what a race going through. I'm actually the president of the Jokers now, been for 10 years. So I'm kind of in a cross between, and I'm glad you want to redevelop us, but I don't want us to get screwed in that. So come to the table with something fair. And I've been dealing with contractors for a long time. Contractors don't always fair. It's all about what you can gain. You've been in business for a long time. This is not Ocean City. This is not Lockwood. This is not Cape May. This is Pleasantville, New Jersey. And although we're a small town, about a 5-mile radius, we are worth something. And we need to stop giving anything away for free. We worth something. Thank you.
Anyone else from the public?
Good evening, everyone. My name is Dale Archie, Pleasantville, 1407. I was reading something.
I'm just sitting here taking notes.
I was reading according to the, I guess it's a note to councilmen, councilwomen, and I would say to the mayor and Ms. Payton as well, and just to reiterate in reference to stop giving things away. I hit a 30-year again. I remember with the 30-year with the sewer, the 30-year down here on Main Street with the beauty parlor is at the bottom of that high-rise building, and another 30 years. So, in looking at this thing in reference from the Department of Community Affairs, they make a statement in their paperwork, and this is what they say. It's very interesting. And it says this: what duration of tax abatement is appropriate for the project? Read it again. What duration of tax abatement is appropriate for the project? Municipalities should not, again, municipalities should not assume that all projects require a 30-year tax exemption. With that being noted, and what's been stated so far, very good points. Again, what the gentleman wants to propose, great, but what my sister just stated, and the other brothers was speaking of, Pleasantville isn't a cash cow for outside entities to take advantage of. Not saying anyone wholeheartedly is doing this, but I come back to my council representative and say, ladies and gentlemen, you are the watchdogs over Pleasantville to make sure that these things don't happen. So again, municipalities should not assume that all projects require a 30-year tax exemption.
Thank you.
Good evening, Linda Carrington, Pleasantville. I heard the developer speak earlier, and it sounds like that he has measures in place to protect him and his company in the event there is a failure. If his project goes dysfunctional, what do we have? Are we going to be left holding the bag?
It's his project.
We're not going to be. No, we're not going to be left holding the bag. Okay, so out of the 6 buildings, so it should be like 30 units per building. If he fails to fill those buildings, he'll just take the loss for it?
Yes.
Okay, that's what I wanted to know.
You won't be able to.
And with, how long does he have to not pay taxes? 15 years, I think it's up to the 15th year, then he'll start getting a little increase. 20% at the 16th year, then 30% at the 20th year, and 80% at the 29th year. So he's gonna be $380,000 a year giving us up to 15 years? Is that how it works? Maybe I misunderstood how all of that.
So there's a staging period for the first couple of years while he's doing lease up.
Staging period?
Yeah, so.
And what is that period, sir?
It's years 1 through 5, where it starts at whether they're rented. It doesn't matter whether they're rented or not. If they're not rented, that's on him. So I think it starts at $1,800, $1,900, $2,000, $2,100 per year, okay? Per unit. So when you get to $2,100, that is what we call the stabilized baseline. Everything's built, occupied or not, it's $2,100 per unit, which is $378,000 a year. From there on, it goes up by the same, so if property taxes in town go up 2%, that goes up 2%.
From there on, you mean after the 5th year?
After the 5th year. So you're still paying $378 plus, whatever the property taxes go, just like everybody else. And then there's additional measures after year 15 to bounce that higher. But if you look at the pro forma, it starts to go up quite a bit, right? That pro forma goes up quite a bit.
Okay, so is it reasonable then for a company to make $5 million and pay $380,000 in taxes?
Yeah, I mean, they don't make $5 million.
Okay, but
If they were making $5 million, it would not be reasonable.
It would not be reasonable.
No, but
So-
you gotta remember, there's a lot of expenses, not just operating expenses.
I got you.
There's a debt service expense
Okay.
too. So
I'm a homeowner.
yeah, so
Whatever my house, pay for my house, I don't care how high the taxes go, I still have to pay for it. I don't care how much money, how much I have to fix it up, how much the interest rate about, I have to still pay for my home.
Right.
And I still have to pay for taxes.
Right.
So I don't get a 5-year waiver for not paying a tax.
There's no waiver, they're paying a tax.
Okay, but they're not paying the full
Fraction of
tax.
the tax.
They're not paying the full tax though. And I don't understand how multi-million-dollar corporations, I do understand it because they're smart. They come in and then they feed on communities like us again. And we say, oh, that looks really good. Look at Pennsauken. But how much taxes did they pay in Pennsauken? Did anybody investigate how much did they pay? Did they get
We have a copy of their financial.
Okay, well, we want to be a part of all of this.
Anyone else want to talk?
Hi, everybody. Renee Brown. When I'm listening to this, and I might ask maybe I'm wrong upside down, please. It sounds to me like you're building a community within a community. First of all, that area of town has never been friendly to the people
Amen.
on this side of town.
Amen.
So it's not going to be, it might be all those amenities and stuff for them, but it's not going to reach us. And the other part of that is, I just don't even like the way you're setting it up, that everything is facing the water, nothing's facing in town. What are you going to do to bring the people in town to spend some money with us?
They can walk there.
They could, but they're not. What for? They got everything, you putting everything right there they need. When they come out their house, they're going to get in their car, they're going to ride down the highway and go to the city. I don't see how we benefit. That's all I'm saying.
Anyone else from the public?
David Carrington, 102 East Adams Avenue. We lost on the expressway deal, right? We don't get anything from the expressway. We don't get anything from across the street. And as it looks, we're not gonna get anything from this development right here. We're losing. We're losing. And when are we going to develop the mindset of we have to win? Okay. How does this affect the police department? How is this going to affect an aged, decrepit fire department building? Okay. How is this going to affect the school district? What are the seniors? How are the seniors in this city going to benefit from this? How are the youth going to benefit from this? Do we have any answers to that? All we see is a lucrative, beautiful landscape, buildings. Will the community be allowed to go swim in that swimming pool? Lift, exercise in that weight room? Will our children be able to partake in any of that? I don't see it. What I see is another company coming in wanting to take advantage of this city. Free money. 30 years. Are you going to allow the citizens of Pleasantville, the taxpayers in Pleasantville, to get a 5-year abatement, 10-year abatement on their taxes, for their properties? I don't think so. We are, again, being cheated.
Anyone else from the public?
Fire department's a cesspool.
Jerry King, City of Pleasantville. First of all, I'd like to congratulate the council on at least considering something that will spur development in this city. I know it's a difficult job that you guys have, and you can never keep everybody happy, and we are a tough group. However, as you heard, we're an intelligent group, a thoughtful group that tries to analyze and assess, what's best for the city. And like Ms. Famularo, thank you for asking that question about the details and the numbers. I am a numbers guy. And the numbers are sketchy. They don't add up to me. Being somebody that worked on Wall Street, managed a mortgage company, have my own financial consulting firm, and being an officer in the military, I've looked at a lot of numbers. And your numbers, at $1,900 a month for 180 units, that's $342,000 a month. It's over $4 million a year. Thank you. And you're paying the city over $300,000. I'm insulted. And you guys should be insulted. And I know it's probably not their intent, because that's what developers do. I used to deal with them when I managed a mortgage company. I hated dealing with them because they wanted to squeeze every drop of blood out of you they could. And they didn't care about your family, your future, none of that. And I understand, that's business. But this is a city. Now, I think it's great. The concept is great to build and develop a city. However, do we need more rental units? Right. Why does everybody that wants to come into this city want to be our master and they want us to be their slaves? That's what I see. And it's insulting to me that these people continuously come in here throwing these bogus numbers at us. As if we can't add, subtract, multiply, and divide. I can, in my head. And it upsets me, it senses me that this happens. I watched them do it before, where they let these guys build these whole 6 houses. Substandard properties with all the piping and concrete. If you got a piping problem, You gotta daggone near bulldoze the whole house just to get to the pipe. I watched them put a house in sideways on Lafayette Avenue so that they could be set back. They put the house in sideways so the side of the house faces the street. This is the type of stuff that goes on in our city. Maybe it wasn't under your watch, maybe it was your predecessors, but it needs to stop. And I'm saying to you, the numbers just don't add up. And that $1,900 a month rent, people here can't afford that. So who's it gonna be outside? I would rather see residential units for sale. Cut it in half and build 90 or 100 residential homes for sale.
We'll get taxed from that.
And when I did the math on that, you would make $22 million from that deal, and then you'd be out of our hair forever. Why not do that? Why not? Because it's a trend that's going on around the country. That hedge funds and major banks all over the country, they want to be landlords. They know that people are on the ropes right now financially due to COVID and the other challenges that we've had. And at the end of the day, it's a lucrative opportunity to fill their coffers. I'd rather see some single-family units, 100 single-family units in a nice community versus another rental. We have another one, my firefighter brother said. Dangerous building across the street.
Anyone else from the public?
Good evening, everyone. Olivia Caldwell, live here in Pleasantville, New Jersey. And just for the record, they were saying that that property down there pays $8,000 to $9,000 per year. I know my property is 12, so I'm a little concerned about that. But like so many have said, and I don't want to repeat everything that they did say, I do wonder why we're doing rental units. Condos would be a wonderful thing, and if you had to throw a few apartments in, that would be okay, because there probably does need to be some lower income units there.
Stop right there, pose the question to the developer. The developer said.
Okay, yeah, well, I'm sure he can hear me, and he can answer, come back up and answer me later. My concern, other than police, fire, and school system, is how are our sewers that are in such bad condition going to handle the new amount of people that would be coming in there? That's something that hasn't been explained to us, at least at this meeting now. So dealing with all of those things are things that have to be considered before moving forward, and the community has to be involved in some of this. I don't know if you want to have some sort of ad hoc group where you bring in a few people, you handpick them, or let the volunteer, but the community needs to have some involvement here, not just to tell us what you're going to do. Thank you.
Fifth group, anyone else from the public? Listening back to the group.
Good evening, Yolanda. Christina Martinez. We just wanted to let the community know that I'm creating a new program.
Excuse me, just agenda items only. I'll get you in a regular meeting. Okay. Anyone else from the public? See anyone else from the public? Anyone say motion to close the public portion? Motion. Second. All in favor? Aye. Okay, now, we're open for discussion with the council. Councilwoman Thomas.
Nothing at this time.
Councilwoman Farmer.
I mean, we've been working on this project at probably 4 or 5 different developers at this place over there, and it's been rough. And I do believe that if we don't strike a deal here, I mean, we got to come up with some kind of deal and get something built, or we'll never have anything. And if you guys just want to be stagnant, that's what we're looking to be, just stagnant. That's what we're going to end up being. But I guarantee that if this falls through, that place will be, there will not be anything built there ever. I guarantee it. Nobody's ever, I mean, right now, things are only going to get more expensive to build, and it's only going to be harder to build. So have you got somebody in here ready to go? I think it's a foolish mistake to try to deter this. That's my opinion.
In order to have something, especially in a community like the one we live in, people see the lay of the land. You go to a situation and you see how long the land has been empty and things of that nature. So you can make a deal, but you have to make the deal the best. What you have to work with. What you have to work with determines how great the deal can be, or not be. At the present time, I think it should just bother everybody that you had a high school site, you had kids over there, and it's been vacant for almost 30-some odd years.
That the city only paid $1 for it.
Excuse me, I have the floor, please.
Facts is facts.
Excuse me, I have the floor.
Can you
It
speak
should
up so
bother-
we can
it should
hear you?
bother- It should bother everyone in here that was it's a parcel of land, prime land, parcel of land that has not been developed. It has not been developed.
That would be an indictment on city fathers.
Hey man, it's an indictment on the school board too as well.
It's an indictment on the
It's
people
an
that gave you the land for $1.
I have entertained a motion to adjourn,
Yeah, he was on school board the whole time, so he needs to take some accountability.
All in favor?
Push on nobody else. Did y'all have the land up for sale? What did y'all do? Y'all try anything? No, nothing. I'm sure some brothers would have paid $100,000. I'm sure some brothers would have paid
That's the Lake Green League, right
Good evening.
I usually do right there.
Good evening, this is City of Pleasantville City Council regular meeting. Today's date is December the 5th, 2022. Mr. Sanchez.
Everybody can see it.
Today's date is December 5th, 2022. The time is 8:37 p.m. This meeting has been duly advertised in the city newspaper. This meeting has been duly advertised in the city's newspaper. Open up a meeting, otherwise known as the Sunshine Law. Roll call.
We know with the invocation and the flag.
Please stand for the invocation and the flag. Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread. Forgive us our trespass, as we forgive those who trespass against us. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil, power and glory forever. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Here.
Davenport. Fablelaro. Here. Thomas. President. Camona.
Present.
Korea.
Here.
Sistrum.
A motion to dispense with the currency.
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Ayes have it. Assuming there's no commendation, proclamation, presentations, public comment.
Okay, first is ordinance number 24, first reading, providing for the execution of a financial agreement under the long-term tax exemption law with the redeveloper for the redevelopment area known as Lot 1 and Block 255 on the tax map of the city.
Any questions? Seeing none?
I need a motion, please.
Motion.
Second.
Roll call Swan,
Yes.
Fablelaro,
No.
Thomas,
Yes.
Pomona,
Yes.
Korea. Yes. Sistrum.
Yes.
Okay, ordinance has been moved to second reading, which is scheduled for December the 21st. Resolution 195, supporting the State House Commission pre-application to the New Jersey Department of Environmental Protection for 411 Brighton Avenue.
Necessary motion.
Second.
Roll call Swan,
Yes.
Fablelaro,
Yes.
Thomas,
Yes.
Pomona,
Yes.
Korea,
Yes.
Sistrum.
Yes.
Resolution approved. Resolution 196, authorize the issuance of a request for a proposal for an energy saving improvement program.
Motion.
Second.
Roll call Swan,
Yes.
Fablelaro,
Yes.
Thomas,
Yes.
Pomona,
Yes.
Korea,
Yes.
Sistrum.
Yes.
Resolution approved. Resolution 197, adopting and certifying the update and review of various sections of the Personnel Policies and Procedures Manual.
Motion.
Second.
Roll call Swan,
Yes.
Fablelaro,
Yes.
Thomas,
Yes.
Pomona,
Yes.
Korea,
Yes.
Sistrum.
Yes.
Resolution approved. Resolution 198, authorizing the tax collector to refund taxes on certain properties.
Motion.
Second.
Roll call Swan,
Yes.
Fablelaro,
Yes.
Thomas,
Yes.
Pomona,
Yes.
Korea,
Yes.
Sistrum.
Yes.
Resolution approved. Next, I need a motion to approve the bill list.
Second.
Roll call Swan,
Yes.
Fablelaro,
Yes.
Thomas,
Yes, but, that's with changing the verbiage for sassafras. Should be trash and not condemnation.
okay, so noted. Pomona,
Yes.
Korea,
Yes.
Sistrum.
Yes.
Motion approved. Next is public portion. If anyone would like to speak, have you signed the sign-in sheet?
Anyone from the public wishing to speak? Please come forward.
You have 3 minutes for the record. Thank you, ladies.
At one time.
Good evening, my name is Christina Martinez, and this is Yolanda Cooper. We just wanted the public to know that we created a Christian alternative school. It's home-based, like a homeschool program. We're trying to help the community fill the gaps for the children that fall between the gaps. I know they got programs for kids that excel and kids that are in the lower level, but the kids that are in the middle usually fall between the gaps and they have nowhere to turn. Their parents are not able to support them and help them. And I myself was the product of that. I used to come home, my mom was like, I can't help you with this, I can't do this for you. So I had to find ways to do things myself. I didn't have a mentor, I didn't have anybody to help me, teach me, guide me. I grew up with epilepsy, I had special needs, I had problems with speaking, language barriers, and all those things. So I didn't have anywhere to turn. And I had to force myself to get up and teach myself and to be the person that I needed. So I want to be that for someone else. So I created this program. I'm trying to be affordable to parents so they have options. They can choose plans and anything that works for them. Everything is funded out of my pocket. My husband is the only one that has a regular full-time job. So it's not, we don't take money from the state, from the community, for anyone. It's just that something that we created to help the kids that are falling between the cracks. We don't want them to go into the streets because they feel like they don't have anybody to look up to. They don't have mentorships. They don't have someone to support them because there's no program for them. So in our center, we give that support. We give that one-on-one extra attention. We give the extra abilities for the kids to be able to strive in a place where they're comfortable to do it and they don't feel like they have to be somebody else or be something else. So we want to try to create partnerships with the community, with other businesses, with the schools, with the city, with the states, with all local areas in the county, to try to get sponsorships to help so that we can help the kids that are falling through the cracks. We want to create something alternative, so it's just a new program, but we hope to help the community and build something strong so that we can help the children in the future.
And I do have my associate degree, I'm getting my bachelor's degree, I graduate next year, Christine's graduate with her master's.
Yes, I am. I've been a teacher for, over 20 years in different areas. I've lived in Pleasantville now for about 12 years, but I graduated in Florida. I have my bachelor's in education. I'm working on my master's in leadership, and then I'm going to get my doctoral in ministry. So I'm trying to build, community and build great programs to help children and become something else, and let them know that just because you come from a low income family, or just because you come from a family that doesn't know how to do something, or you have disabilities, or you have things, doesn't mean you can't make it. You just need an alternative, somebody to help you get to where you want to go, and I want to be that for those people.
Thank you for sure.
Thank you so much.
I appreciate you coming out,
Thank
and you don't sound like anyone that doesn't have a mentor.
Right, yeah.
I can't get my head around it.
Yeah.
So,
I worked really hard to get from, where I was to where I am, and I want to be able to show that with the hard work and dedication, you can get to that. You don't have to come from, money or good background to be able to get to where you want to be.
I usually go last, but I jump in front.
Yes, I have a question. So is this from 8 to 2, or it varies?
The parents can choose. So I'm there at 8 in the morning and until 5:30, 6 o'clock. Parents choose the times, the days, the hours, so that way they can benefit, where they can go to work, feel safe, drop their kids off. They can get, we offer like co-op, homeschooling. We offer regular, like if they're in regular school and they just need extra help, or if the school system wants to send them to us because they can't, they're somewhere that they feel they don't fit in their program, they can send them to us, so we can work together to build the community and help the children, not fall between those cracks. So there's the parents, that's why I said it's not about the money, so the parents have options to choose. Oh, I can only afford this, that's fine. Oh, I can't afford at all, I'm trying to get scholarships to help those they can't afford at all, and bring them in, because I'm not interested in the money, I'm interested in helping the community and the children.
How about Child Care Network?
The building that I currently have doesn't fit their needs, and I couldn't afford the building, so right now I just took what I can afford, because like I said, everything comes out of my pocket, so I just went with where I can put it right now.
And we can ask you a question.
Where is it located?
Delilah.
It's on Delilah Road, right, like Washington, Delilah, like right, it's like the border of Egg Harbor and Pleasantville. Right after like the recycle place, and right before the FedEx, so we're like right there in the line.
And we have an open house on
December
December
13th,
13th, if y'all
5 to 8, anybody want to come and see the
please.
program and
Yes.
see what we're building and, what we offer the community. We're trying to get all of Atlantic County part of it so that we can, help everyone.
What's that site address?
It's 6577.
Is the address up there now? Some of the address.
Some of them
not
have,
up there.
6577 Delilah Road. 6577 Delilah Road. Egg Harbor Township, and it's on the second floor. You'll see the building where the red rooftops used to be. There used to be like a factory for the Atlantic County, something, there's a factory there, and they have red rooftops right after the FedEx.
Past the FedEx, once you come past
Right
the
after FedEx
yeah.
on the left-hand side, and we're on the second floor. Yes, near there, it's near there, yeah, with the red rooftops, you see the, right, yeah, we're on the second floor.
Okay, any more questions? Thank you.
We thank you so much.
Thank you so much for your time, I
Thank you.
appreciate it, thank you.
Anyone else from the public?
Good luck. Thank you.
Say no one, entertain a motion to close the public portion. Motion. All in favor? Aye. Ayes have it. And next we have Councilwoman Thomas.
No, I have nothing.
Councilwoman Pomerell.
I would just like to say what an excellent time was had by, I think, everybody on Friday night with the tree lighting. everybody did over and above, and Santa Claus was absolutely amazing. And every kid got their picture taken with Santa Claus, and all city people had their picture taken with Santa Claus, and Santa Claus sat there and above and beyond, even for Santa Claus. But it was just amazing. It was a great night. And also, I hope everybody takes a drive down Main Street and looks at the new Christmas lights that we have up. It really illuminates the city. It puts everybody in the holiday spirit. The bus terminal is lit. It just is, and Jackie got her red and white Christmas tree there. It was just, I have to give credit where credit's due. This was on Linda Payton and Jackie Felton, I'm not right, because they did it, they pulled it together like that. I was shocked. And Linda Payton walking down Main Street in 6-inch heels was just amazing, and giving out orders, and boy, everybody listened to her. So they pulled this together. They are the ones that get all the kudos and everything for it, and it looks wonderful, so thank you.
Ricky, can I just add? Can we give Santa a standing ovation? Chapman, just don't turn the camera that way. So, thank you, Santa.
Just ruined it.
Always checking to see who's naughty and nice.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for coming out. And I was coming in, I was heading north on Main Street today from Northfield, and then I finally, I saying, something looks different. But it really looks great. The trees lit up, and the lighting, it sparks us, it makes us really good. I think whoever put it, I know our Public Works worked hard to do it.
No, they didn't.
No, we did it.
Not that they don't work hard.
They work very
Well,
hard.
all I know is my wife has to fight me to put lights on one street. So we're those lights up for a heck of a job. So, that's great.
Yeah, I also want to say Main Street does look nice. I want to thank everybody for that, to be part of it. And I want to thank the young lady, what she's doing. God bless y'all, both of y'all. And I pray that y'all got some food. Really appreciate it. The city needs it. And God bless you. God bless everybody. Have a blessed night. Stay safe.
Can I say something?
Who's that?
Councilman.
I don't have much to say, but I heard through the grapevine it was one of ours birthday. So we want to wish him a belated happy birthday. I hope he had a great one. Happy birthday.
And he was lit.
And yes, Main Street look different in a very nice way. So thank you all for.
Ms. Payton.
Yeah, I do. I have a few comments. First of all, so I thank Councilwoman Famularo for the accolades about Main Street, but Jackie and I just moved to the beat of whatever you guys direct us to do. So Joanne Famularo is the chairperson of the Community Relations Committee, and through that committee and also the Recreation Committee, she has been talking to us for a while now about sprucing up Main Street for the holidays. She said, can we just do a little bit more? Can we just do something a little different? And we have been taxing our public works, like you said, they work really hard, but they're not decorators, right? So Joanne, in the evening hours, sent over some information regarding a vendor that happened to be in town during the New Jersey League of Municipalities. Reached out to that vendor the very next day, asked Councilwoman Familaro to come in with us to meet with that vendor, and she did not hesitate. So she was walking down Main Street as well. It was a group of us that actually took the time to walk down Main Street. And I think this is just the beginning of what we can see and what we can do when we put our minds together and different ideas together to build the quality of life here in Pleasantville, because I do think it's going to change the spirit of people when they come through town. So it was an excellent idea, Councilwoman Familaro. I enjoyed being a part of it. And we thank Jackie Amato Belton for tapping into the Neighborhood Preservation Fund. So for those of you who are saying, well, where's the money coming from? I don't want my tax-paying money to really go there. So we had grant money that we were able to do this with, and I hope that it's appreciated, because it does make a difference. And we've gotten so many text messages and email messages from the public already saying how nice it looks. So thank you for your ideas and input. It's always appreciated. As you all can see, the mayor's missing tonight. She's a little bit under the weather, but she did want me to also thank all of the city employees who participated in making the annual bike giveaway a success again. Once again, this year we gave away, I believe, 68 bikes. Half of that was donated by the Ron Jaworski's, I believe that's the name, foundation. They came in and helped the city out this year. The other donations were given through the Pleasantville Envisions Pride and Prosperity. But just to see the look on these kids' face every year, Councilwoman Thomas is a secret Santa, because we had some kids up there that were just crying and crying and crying, and I always like to tell these stories every year, because this just tells you that we really care about these little ones. And they didn't, their tickets, their numbers were not called. But if I see a tear, Carla sees a tear, like we're on it, we're like, give them a bike. Right, so and I'm saying that to give. So if you can think of us each year, if you would like to donate bicycles and helmets for these kids, please do so, because we don't want to see anybody there crying and going home without a bicycle. My grandbaby got a chance to be the first one to sit on Santa's lap. So we got pictures of that, and it was so exciting to see that. And I think about 20, 23, 24 years ago, when my kids were sitting on Santa's lap out there. Just so to see this rendition and tradition continue each year and just get better and better. This is what Pleasantville is about, and these are the times that I like to talk about these things. So keep up the good work to all of our departments, Public Works. We gave them a break. They didn't put up a light, but they followed the vendor to make sure that the lights were put in place and all of that kind of stuff. And when the lights were not working, I got emails and text messages throughout the night that they were out there testing the lights so that on the day of the event, the street would be lit up, and it really was. So thank you to Chief. I'm looking at you, but PD kind of takes over our events, right? With crowd control and their ideas, and they had TRICARE out there this year. So it was really just a community event, and again, I wish we could do that almost every day, but we can't. So one of the other things that I do want to mention as well is this building, and I don't know where I'm positioned at, is 36 West Washington Avenue, over there. Okay, that eyesore is coming down. For all of you, the contractors will begin the process December the 14th, and the demolition is scheduled December the 27th. So by January of this year, that area will be demolished, and we'll have a new site, and hopefully we'll have some developers, if not the city, looking at that to see how to improve that site. So thank you guys.
To piggyback on you, Kara needs some.
Oh, I can't.
She goes over and above also, and she runs that program. Like, the trains run on time with Kara.
She works not only behind the scenes, but in front. She steps out and makes sure if we don't have an MC, she's the MC.
Correct.
She coordinates the whole bikes. The setup, she sits in at all the meetings for me to make sure that everything is coordinated. So I appreciate you bringing that to my memory, because I can't do what I do without Kara.
Yeah.
I just wanted to add, and thank you, the police department's always here, we're always here to support the city in any way we can, but I wanted to bring up, especially for the Winter Wonderland, the Pleasantville Police Foundation. They did donate 25 or purchase 35 bike helmets, to match the 35 bikes that was donated, not through the Ron Jaworski, but through the other program. So, every year they're here to, support Winter Wonderland, and they did that this year.
Always.
Excellent.
Can I just say one more thing? I have to. So Yolanda?
Yes.
Right, so thank you. Every time I see you, it's something new with you, but it's always community oriented. So continue to do what you do, and however we can help you throughout the city, particularly with educating our kids, let us know. So thank you for sharing that information with us tonight.
God praise. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm done.
The Christmas tree and lighting and kids, bikes, and just and Santa. You're overwhelmed every time seeing the young kids, especially getting their first bikes.
Yeah.
You can tell on the faces of those that got their first bike, how proud they were to ride off. Sometimes without sitting on Santa's lap, you got to remind them a little bit. God bless the city of Pleasantville. God bless this council to make the right decisions to move the city forward. And I entertain a motion.
Oh, wow. Just one thing. I just have to say, when I built the laundromat at Washington and Franklin in 1994, right? And my first customer, guess who it was?
Yolanda.
Yolanda. She was the first one in the door.
God is good, he's amazing, I'm still
So, thank you.
Okay, I entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Ayes have it.